Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This is the show all about farmers markets and how to increase your market business success. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a farmer or food producer selling at farmers markets, this is the podcast for you. Today we're talking about the end of the year, hustle and bustle at markets, as well as some big InTents, the Farmers Market Conference speaker announcements. Hi, I'm Brijet Myers, one of your hosts. I'm a longtime market manager here in San Diego, and I do it all from pulling permits to vetting vendors to marketing to making sure porta potties are in the right spot, all the joys of market management. And I'm also one of your Farmers Market pros. I'm the education coordinator for InTents, the Farmers Market Conference.
And I'm Catt White, still an active farmers market manager, doing all those glamorous things that Brijet mentioned, and pulling on my wellies and working those rain or shine markets this time of year.
Huh.
And I'm the founder of Farmers Market Pros, bringing classes, conferences, and community to farmers market participants everywhere.
Aw. We have the glamour, and then we have the conference stuff, which is fun and indoors.
Yeah. I was going to say nationwide, and then I remembered all of our Canadian friends.
That's right. Yep. International wide.
International. And you from Latvia, I wish I could remember your name. I met you at the Public Markets Conference. I know you're a fan. Hi.
Oh, hi. Hello. Oh. Keep listening.
Send
us a message.
Yes.
Well, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Should we sing?
And the busiest the most. I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel like I need to take a nap. But this is what we do as market managers, right? We do holiday events.
Yep.
The markets are busy. I know some markets are taking a rest right now.
Some markets are taking a rest, but I feel like less than used to. My whole Instagram feed and email newsletters and things are full of markets that used to be seasonal that are announcing all of their winter markets and their holiday pop-ups and their chef dinners with people that use ingredients from their farmers and just all kinds of fun stuff now.
Yeah, or some markets are finding spaces to be indoors for the winter that never had been before, so that's fun.
So many more indoor markets. I think it's a function of, just the customers getting used to they have to have their fresh food all year, and also farmers figuring out how to extend their seasons with hoop houses and all those things that mean that we can have a wider variety of fresh vegetables all year long.
Yeah, I love it. And us in San Diego are getting some serious weather.
Oh, serious weather. We had actual precipitation on Saturday. So I didn't even say that right. No. Precipitation.
We don't know how to talk about rain.
We don't even know how to talk about rain. Our vendors are like, I can't unload. It's raining. And I guarantee you people in Seattle would say, ooh, sunny day. Take off our jackets.
It was like misting. It was warm. I brought like 10 jackets to the market on Saturday and literally wore a small hoodie.
I had to go change clothes, take off a few layers. I was so hot.
It was great, but it was nice. So many shoppers came out, which of course they always do, and we always just freak out. But yeah, if you follow the Little Italy Mercato, that is one of our weekly farmers markets, and I posted some pictures of people shopping in the rain and just overjoyed to see them. And I know other markets that's the kind of
we always forget
standard.
And get worried when the clouds come out. We get worried, but no, they do. They just come. They know we'll be there, and so they're there, and it's nice. Not probably quite as many people out to take selfies.
Yeah.
But all the buyers.
All the buyers are there.
Yep. And visitors. Yeah. There's so many visitors this time of year.
And they're not going to, exactly. And I talked to a couple people that were visiting from other places that have actual weather. And I was like, oh, thanks for coming out. This is not really San Diego weather, but, here we are. And they're like, it's fine. What? Who cares? I was like, okay.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
You guys have the loveliest weather.
They were really enjoying themselves. So
they were.
Eaters got to eat,
That's right. Shoppers got to shop.
That's right. And in between all those markets and our pathetic tolerance for weather and holiday events and we had a Christmas Village and other kind of shopping events that are going on, we are also getting ready for our upcoming, so soon, InTents, the Farmers Market Conference, which is happening sooner and sooner every day.
So soon. Don't look at that counter on the website because it will just chill your heart.
Well, you as listeners can look at it and get excited.
You can look at it and get excited. We're looking at it and going, what were we thinking? We were so smart this year to move it forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit earlier. It has been, I think a couple years ago it was in March sometime. And then last year it was the very end of February.
Yeah.
And then we realized that we were conflicting with the California Small Farm Conference and the Washington Small Farm Conference and the Oregon State Meeting and a couple of big things back east. And so we decided we would move it up and be really early in February, so we wouldn't be conflicting with anybody else. It's after EcoFarm.
Yeah, which has been great for people buying tickets. They're excited about it. They can come. They're available. So that's
very
great.
Happy about that.
Yeah.
But we are looking at that calendar and going, oh, wow, so we have a month less to plan.
Interesting.
Forgot about that math.
That's fine. That's fine. We're good with a deadline, though.
We're good with the deadline.
We work well with the deadline.
We do.
Always have and always will.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah, that's good. You know, we don't hustle.
Right.
So it's good. We're having a lot of fun, though. There's a lot of cool things that are happening. So our speaker lineup is amazing and very exciting.
It is very exciting this year. It's good every year. I got to pat us on the back.
I will pat you on the back because you line up all those amazing speakers.
I do.
And
I
then
love it.
I show up and do logistical things and get to listen to really incredible people speak and teach me things. And it's just great.
It is cool. That's
not just
awesome. We've got
saying
some
that.
great folks. We've got a few repeat, I don't want to say repeat offenders. We have a few repeat celebrities that are coming back. Sarah Marshall from Marshall's Hot Sauce. She did that amazing self-care session last year that was so specific to farmers markets and keeping track of making sure that you don't dehydrate and that you don't run out of steam and get hangry and all those wonderful things. But she's got some new things to talk about this year, so she'll be back.
Yeah, love her. I send that episode out when we do vendor advisories once in a while, and it was kind of warm over the summer. And I said, hey, these are some, rules for the vendors, and we have to send them some reminders sometimes. And then I send them the link to that episode and say, don't forget, take care of yourself. Vendors and farmers at the market need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And here's a great episode that talks about that. And
that's right, because that was an episode that was live from the conference last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Didn't Justine actually recorded Sarah's presentation, and it's a good chunk of that is on our podcast. Oh, I forgot about that.
So
That's
it's
good.
nice just to remind yourself. And the vendors really appreciated it. It was nice for them to say, oh, yeah, it's, kind of hard when it's warm or long days or whatever. And it's nice to have a little reminder oh, yeah, you care about us and we should care about ourselves. And that's good. Nice.
Actually, that's a cool thing, too. Speaking of live from the conference, is some of our speakers this year are going to be not random people, but incredibly important farmers market pros that are attending the conference.
Attendees.
That can sign up when they get there to be on our live podcast from InTents Farmers Market Conference. So we're going to do probably a series of 4 or 5 people with fairly short interviews and put them all into an episode or 2 of the podcast, but they'll get to come up on stage and share their stories on the podcast. I'm really excited about that.
That's going to be so fun. And that's really the whole point, why we started Vendor 101 and the whole conference was we just learn from each other. And it's better to get everybody in a room talking. So I feel like our attendees are going to have really great things to say.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to capture that.
They're one of our most exciting speakers, our attendees, talking to one another and talking to us.
Definitely. So we have some of the speakers up on our Eventbrite registration site now. And we'll have new speaker and sponsor pages on the website any minute. Do we even want to talk about our website? Sorrows.
Jerome sent me an email this morning. He goes, do you know that it says 2019 speakers on the website still? That needs to change to 2020. I'm like, no, the whole page needs to change. Did you somehow miss the part about how right before Thanksgiving, the whole thing crashed and it's taken forever to put it back together?
We've had some technical difficulties.
We have had some technical difficulties. Luckily, we're not the ones giving the session on websites.
Yeah.
That'll be Charlotte.
We couldn't do that.
Technical experts. Actually, we know a lot about what websites should look like.
Yeah.
And we're very frustrated that ours doesn't right this minute. It's a little behind, but getting that up to date this week with new speaker and sponsor pages. Justine's coming back to help.
Justine's coming back. We're so excited. Well, she never really left because she's always been editing and publishing these episodes for us for the podcast. Right. And of course, she's our friend, so we see her. But she's coming back on board with Farmers Market Pros to help us do some more kind of background stuff, and then we'll be at the conference as well. So all of you who are going to be there can see Justine. We're so excited.
If her full-time, very glamorous employer is listening to this, that PTO thing or sick deal that she's calling in, pretend you didn't hear this.
Yeah. She really is sick February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
That's right. But she'll be at the conference, which is awesome. And she knows the website in and out. So she'll be helping us update speaker and sponsor pages over the next couple of days. But in the meantime, if you look at the Eventbrite registration page, there's a list of some of the speakers that are coming. We've got a lot of speakers, but there's a few of them listed there.
So excited about it. And
so who else is coming back?
Posting on social, too. Okay, so coming back, Charlotte Smith will be back from Farm Marketing from the Heart, She's awesome. We love her.
Yeah.
She's not just for farmers. Her information on identifying your ideal customer, pricing your products, great websites, and the power of email are so valuable for everybody.
Yeah, I can't believe how many comments we get when Charlotte speaks. Our original conference organizer said, I was sitting in the back taking notes. I know I'm supposed to be doing stage management, but I was taking notes. She was so interesting. I'm going to tell that to all of my clients. So
Exactly.
yeah, she does. Charlotte actually works with small farmers in particular, but her information is so valuable for everybody.
I've learned so much from her as a market manager. So it's just, her reach is, phenomenal. It's really for everyone. And she's just a wonderful person.
She is, and she's so smart.
Yeah, she's very smart.
Have you listened to her she's got a podcast
yes.
now, so she has the Profitable Mindset podcast. She's
love
actually
her
like a
podcast.
certified mindset trainer too, which is probably why her stuff is so applicable to everybody. You like her podcast?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, actually, speaking of the Sarah Marshall's episode, Charlotte just did an episode a few episodes ago about kind of like stress versus anxiety and how to handle that stuff when you are having. I think she was talking about farmers dealing with weather and things like that, and then just everybody in their jobs, like what's a stressful situation and what's like real anxiety. And she has kind of like, her and her husband have a psychological or psychology
I think he's a
background.
psychotherapist maybe, and she's got mindset training.
It was very interesting and just really circled it all back to running a small business and how that's a different kind of anxiety producing thing. And so just some tools to help with that, and found that really interesting. And then she also just has great marketing tips and walks through how to price your items, and just really kind of a broad spectrum of things that apply to everyone in the farmers market business.
Really good about pricing.
Yeah.
She's really encouraging about remembering what incredible value what we produce has.
Exactly.
So, and not to undercut yourself, or not to let your own insecurities about how much your work is worth affect how you price your products. People will pay for a quality product.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point too. She's talked a lot about, if you get negative feedback on pricing, or you have, a disagreement with a customer, how to handle those kind of things. And I know we're going to talk about that in a future episode, because one of our vendors has had an employee fly off the handle, but how to handle kind of negative feedback. And so she has some really good tips for that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be good. All the cool kids have podcasts now.
All the cool kids have a podcast, which is great, because I'm an avid podcast listener.
I know you
so
are.
I like that all my farmers market friends are starting their own podcasts,
awesome.
so then I can listen. So
Cool.
that's great.
Let's see who else is going to be here. John Piatti, who's the president of American Farmland Trust, is going to speak on Sunday afternoon, and that's really exciting. They do amazing things to preserve farmland all across America, and they've been sort of undercover all this time. I think they haven't talked all that much about what they do in terms of capturing farmland so that it can be held as farmland and not developed for other things. And then they've worked some on succession planning with farmers so that the retiring farmers can get that farmland into the hands of younger farmers. We can't have farmers markets if we don't make farmland within reach for new farmers. A lot of our farmers are retiring out. So that's important. And then I just saw John, I was at an event that he was at, that he spoke some. And one of the things American Farmland Trust is doing this year is really getting the message out about how small farmers and the way they sequester carbon can actually address climate change. A lot of people talking about climate change are like, let's do this so that we don't put out any more carbon. And there was a guy that was speaking with John, and he said, so when you talk to like an 800-pound guy who's having health problems, you don't just say, hey, well, let's just don't get to 815. You'll be fine, and you're not going to be fine at 800.
Yeah.
So we need to actually start reducing carbon, and small farmers do that. Cows are not the enemy.
Yep.
Bad ranchers are the enemy. Well, not the enemy, but they're confused.
Yeah.
They need help. Bad ranchers and bad production facilities are part of the problem, but good ranchers and their livestock are actually doing proactively really positive things about fixing this mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to talk some about that too.
I'm excited about that. Yeah, have him there. I think it'll be great. Nice draw. I'm excited about Darren Chapman from the Tiger Mountain Foundation in Phoenix. His organization is helping people get out of gang culture and come back from incarceration and learn to farm and to build businesses and gain customer service skills that will help them make a living, which is so important.
So amazing. So those guys are working the farm, and it's an urban farm, South Mountain area, and then they're taking produce to the market, and they're doing value-added products. So they're really learning about running small food businesses and small farm operations at the farmers markets, which can then translate to all kinds of skills. But part of what we're seeing and hope to continue seeing is that translates to them working for other farmers and working for other food makers. And so they're really well-trained employees at that point, which helps everybody. It helps them, helps the other small businesses, and then it'd be great to see some of them transition into their own businesses and their own small farms.
Yeah, it's a really cool kind of different thing that he's doing, and things that we have to, in the farmers market industry, have to think about. What are some, like, if we want to do projects like this, or how can we kind of build these employees from different avenues and teach them these skills? Like, if we have skills, share the skills with others, and just how farmers markets are a really great tool for all sorts of different programs like that.
They are great incubators on so many different levels.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of our farmers and vendors are having a really hard time finding trained staff or trainable staff. Shortage of employees, prospective employees, has been an issue for a while. So the idea of kind of looking outside our usual box of where we look for people that will work with us, and understanding that people that might come from a different background can turn into really wonderful, valuable employees with the right training. It's something that'll help all of us moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what he's doing. That's what I think makes Darren and his program interesting to our farmers market attendees. And we need to talk about the people we're overlooking when we say we can't find help.
Yeah.
We can't find help. I know
exactly.
It's like gig economy makes it hard to like find people that want to come work for us, because farmers markets are kind of gigs, but kind of not, because you need someone that's trained and that knows all the rules and regulations and things like that. So you need those continuous employees. But where can we go to look for people that can help?
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit again. We're going to try to have not quite as terrifying a session as last year, but we are going to be talking about federal and local labor laws, and those vary somewhat state to state, and of course we get attendees from all over, but some of the federal laws are pretty clear on who you can call an independent contractor and who you can't.
Yep.
And we've seen some farmers market vendors and farmers end up in trouble by trying to classify people incorrectly.
Exactly.
So we'll be talking about some of those legal aspects at the conference too this year.
Yeah. It was very scary, but
very scary.
Also, that's what I have the most like notes on is that session, and it was interesting to me, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like we structured our business, our farmers market business, a little differently last year, and I think a lot of that from my perspective came from that session and other things that we learned about employment and all those things. So
yeah, it's important to know.
Yeah, you just
we try to do that early in the conference so you can just get that bitter pill down and move on to the happy stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll try to do that again.
You look out the window, the little boats sailing by while you're learning all this terrifying information.
I love Marina Village.
I know. Our conference center is the best. Let's see, who else is coming? Really exciting people. I am really excited that the Apricot Lane Farms.
Nathan McCauley, the sales manager from Apricot Lanes, is coming. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So, because Apricot Lane is the farm that tells their story in the Biggest Little Farm movie.
Yeah.
We showed that at the conference last year, and I think a lot of people have seen it since then in other places. It's out in other places. We're going to actually have DVDs of it for sale in our bookstore at the conference, so that'll be fun. But that movie was amazing.
Yeah, I actually need to get one because I went and saw it. I didn't see it at the conference because
we were working.
We were cleaning. Justine and I were cleaning up
right.
when everyone was watching the movie, which is fine. That was our job. But then it played.
You're not bitter or anything.
No, it was fine. It's taking out the trash. But then it came to when it was released out in theaters. It came to this like my favorite little independent theater in Hillcrest, which is a neighborhood next to mine. And actually, my dad, who he didn't know that the movie played at the conference, but he was like, "Hey, you want to go see this movie together?" And I was like, "That's the movie that I want to see." So my dad and I went and saw it in the theater, and it was so fantastic. And we were crying and we were laughing, and it's such a good film. I mean, I don't have to tell you, but it was such a good film. It was great. So I will be buying a DVD because I want my kids to see it too, because I feel like it just tells a really good story about like the roots of farming, the struggles of farming,
how hard
it is, how the joys of it, like just, oh, it's beautiful. And the cinematography is incredible.
Oh, so beautiful.
That's
it's
like
such a beautiful movie.
Was his job beforehand or something, right? Like
right.
He has some expert.
Yeah, John, one of the farmers, was a cinematographer. So it's so pretty.
Yeah.
And I always say after I'm anywhere where we're showing that to people, you need to show this to all your customers, because once you see that, you will never quibble about the price of eggs again.
I'm telling
or the price
you.
of a vegetable.
That's why I told everyone to go
so
see
much.
it. Yeah, exactly. I told everyone to go see it. This is why everything tastes so good, because there's so much love and effort put into it. And that's also why the cost is a little higher. So suck it up, go watch this movie, and then you'll
Watch the
never
movie.
complain again.
Pay a reasonable price, eat really good food.
Yeah, and they do a good job at their farmers markets. So that'll
They
be a
do.
great
So that's
tip.
some of what Nathan will be talking about is he manages a big group. So he'll be able to kind of tying in with Darren, talk about employees, where you find employees, how you train employees, because they do a lot of markets.
Yeah.
So he's going to talk about that. And also display tips.
Yeah.
Before I even knew Apricot Lane Farms as far as the movie and such, I used to follow them on Instagram just to take pictures of their displays because they do such a beautiful job of setting up their markets. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that. That's something that everybody's always interested in.
Yeah, last year at the conference we had a nice conversation about displays, and everyone had tons of questions, and they were all sharing ideas with each other about what they do for displays. And I know, just like on our social media, people are always asking like, "Oh, what do I use for this?" And "Oh, I never even thought about using that kind of display or a small refrigerator or basket kind of stacking." So it's great. It's a great conversation to
Yeah.
have with farmers market.
Yeah, so I think
folks.
that'll be good.
Yeah.
And then Lori Rice, who's a photographer and a food stylist, is going to give us all tips about how to take those pretty displays and take good pictures of them.
Please.
So small farmers, food producers. She does a lot of product shoots, so she'll be able to help our food producers with how do you get a really pretty picture of that jam. I think she has a thing on her website called something like 9 ways to take a picture of banana bread. That's actually crazy valuable.
Yeah.
How clever it is, and then how to easily edit them so that we can get it onto our Instagram. All of us, including us market managers, have to have Instagrams to fill. So
Exactly. I feel like I'm a product photographer because as a market manager, I'm taking pictures of our vendors' products, and I want it to look good when we post it on our social as well. So it's not just people who have products to take photos of. It's if you're running a market, how do you take a picture of your vendors and your farmers' products and make
absolutely,
it look good? Yeah.
'Cause, I mean that's what you're going to get out there on social media all day and get people to the market. It's amazing how effective it is to run a really good picture. You know, we'll run a picture on Instagram first thing in the morning, and a couple hours later we'll have somebody at the market holding up their phone and saying, "Where do I find this farmer?" or "How do I find this jam? I need to buy this." So it's a really effective thing if you do it well.
For sure. Who else has come in?
Pascal Ladrick from Morning Glory Markets. Notice how I got to say that. I didn't make you say it
I
because
looked at that and just waited.
just waited for someone else to take a turn.
Although I do know some Francais, but
You do
I'll
a
let you
bit.
handle that one.
Yeah. But she's amazing. She actually wrote a book called, I want to say American Pie, but I think I'm getting that wrong. But it is a story about pie, about traveling across America looking at pie. But that's not what she's going to be talking about. She's actually from Morning Glory Markets in upstate New York. And one of the things she's going to do is be in our group that's talking about how to deal with boards, host organizations, local civic groups and things that are either supportive of the market or maybe not much, and how to deal with all of those folks. One of her markets is inside the New York Botanical Garden, which is
Amazing.
cool. But
so cool.
obviously she's dealing with a big board and a lot of regulations and things. So she's going to talk about that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good thing for us to talk about at the conference because markets are set up in so many different types of structures, like whether you're a nonprofit yourself and running the market, or you're partnered with a business improvement district nonprofit, or the city is who you work for that runs the market, or the neighborhood. I mean, it's just so many different ways. So it's really great to kind of talk to someone who has a good viewpoint on all of those and some tips with making that relationship the best it can be.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then she and Beverly Grant from Mobetta Green Markets in Denver.
Oh, that's right.
Are both going to be talking about some of the challenges that smaller markets in particular face.
Yeah.
You know, there's some markets that have 10, 12, 14 vendors that are really successful and really add to their communities, and they're a really important resource for the shoppers that go to them. But they also have to operate really differently than, say, we do with our 40, 50, 150 vendors in terms of the economy of how do you pay a staff member, how do you afford to do marketing, all those things, either while you're in a market that's just going to stay small because that's what your community needs, or while you're growing a really small market into a kind of a mid-sized larger market.
Yeah, very important too. Yeah, we also get questions about that too, especially people like send us emails about the podcast and say, can you talk about smaller markets? How do I how do I grow my market, or how do I make it sustainable? So that's a really good topic for us to dig into at the conference.
We're going to have a lot of that at this year's conference, it looks like. We've got such a crazy wide variety of organizations that are going to be there. I was just looking at our attendee list, and I'm really excited about that.
I love that too. Every time we sell a ticket, Kat and I always just are like, who is this person? Where are they coming from? Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're so excited. And like, it's great to just see all these people from all these different kind of corners of the farmers market industry. And we're so excited to get together. Every year we get so excited.
Every year.
Everyone's coming together.
Yep.
So that segues nicely to Mark Wynn. His latest book, Food Town USA, really illustrates how important farmers markets can be to the overall economic survival of cities of all sizes, their place in the food system, and...
Even in really small towns, the place of a farmer's market and a food system can really make a big difference in all kinds of ways. So, employment and income to the city. And his book, that latest book, Food Town, talks about 7 different cities, many of which were suffering like real economic setbacks from the loss of an industry, or one of them is really plagued by the whole opioid epidemic and such. And that the food systems, including the farmers markets there, are some of the things that are really making a difference in building them back up and bringing the community together and giving them healthy ways to see each other and to progress and to improve the economy. So that's going to be exciting to see. He has other books that are also great. Stand Together or Starve Alone, Closing the Food Gap, and maybe the best title ever, it's a book of his from, I think, about 10 years ago, called Food Rebels, Guerrilla Gardeners, and Smart Cookin' Mamas.
I love it.
So we will have some of Mark's books in the bookstore.
Oh, I'm excited about our bookstore.
Bookstore's always fun.
Ooh, I'm so excited about it.
We have Charlotte's book there. We'll probably have some of Sarah's books there. Lori Rice, our food stylist and photographer, is also a writer.
Yeah.
And her latest book, that I'm not going to remember the name of right this second, is about cooking with beer.
Oh, love it.
And, here we are in San Diego. So one of the things that we'll be doing is a book signing at one of our local breweries with her. So you can get a little beer, get a book. We're going to actually, the conference goes the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of February, and the release date on her book is the 4th. So we're getting it before anybody else gets it. But I think the thing is she has to sign it, and then you have to actually pick it up on the 4th because you're not allowed to let those books out into the world until the publisher says go. But that'll be fun.
But that's fine. Yeah, pick it up on your way out.
We'll have her book as well.
Yeah, awesome. I love our bookstore. Last year I got some good books, and then I ended up buying audiobooks of some of the speakers that were there because I was going on a road trip right after the conference, like Anastasia's book and Brent Preston's book and stuff. So I just love it. I mean, it's always just a good way to fill my library for the spring.
It is fun. Yeah. So we'll have Lori's beer and book signing dinner. Or I don't know if it'll be a dinner, but it'll be some fun thing with beer nearby. Yep. American Farmland Trust is going to sponsor the opening reception on Sunday, where we all kind of mix and mingle after the sessions on Sunday afternoon. Yep. So we'll be doing that with them. And then right after that, when folks usually head off on their own to the farm to fork restaurants that we set up that align with the conference and offer menus that are using ingredients from local farmers, one of those dinners is going to be a dinner with John, president of American Farmland Trust, again, trying to not be a fangirl, but he's really cool. And that'll be a fundraiser for American Farmland Trust. So we'll have tickets available for that. That's going to be at a really nice restaurant downtown San Diego.
Excited about that.
So many things happening.
Yes. Speaking of other food and beverage things happening at the conference this year, shout out to Eric and the team at 7 Seas Roasting Company because they are managing our cafe this year, and I'm so excited about it because I don't want to do it.
I know, but it's important that it gets done.
I do want to do it because I love that, and I love food service, and I get to bring out my old restaurant skills, but I don't want to do it while I'm also trying to help run the conference and talk to all the attendees there and speak and all those things. So I'm really excited that Eric and I had a long conversation about how to make that work, and he is super stoked. He's
going to lead the charge.
He's going to lead the charge, and he's going to have his amazing coffee there, which is terrific, to kind of keep us going throughout the days. And then he's going to also get some local food vendors. He's going to pick up their items and sell them at the cafe as well. So like Maya's Cookies and edible alchemy yogurt and things like that, so we can have snacks throughout the day. We'll have our lunch vendors there as usual from our markets, but he's going to take that on, and I'm really excited for him.
Take it on the charge. That's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons we're at Marina Village and not at a hotel. One of the reasons is it's right on the water and you get that view of the boats and you really know you're in San Diego.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, because it's an older event center and not a hotel, we get to manage our own food and beverage, which we actually love. It's a little bit of extra work, but it means that we can use local farm fresh ingredients. We can have local food vendors that are supplying the food there. I hate going to small farm conferences and landing in some big chain hotel and eating rubber chicken, for lack of a better description, but just really bad food and a lot of waste because they're laying down these huge plates of food that's kind of commodity food, and a lot of us leave it sitting on the table and you end up with a lot of food waste, and it just makes me cringe. So I love how we bring in farmers market vendors and people using farm fresh ingredients. And
our vendors love it too. They ask to come back, like, oh, when's the conference? Can I do it again? You know, with our tacos and our Indian food and empanadas and crepes and all those things. So they love it, and it's nice. And then I feel like the attendees love it too, because they get to see what the food vendors that are at our farmers markets. I know I like to go to events and other places that I'm at and see local food vendors. So
wherever I go, that's the first thing I'm doing is seeking out markets. So we bring a little bit of the market to you at the conference.
It's a little
nice.
fun. It's nice.
It's good.
Awesome. So how many speakers do we have all together? 28, 29?
I invited a few more people. I think we're at like 33, 35.
This is like a party that Catt's throwing. Yeah. She's just inviting all her favorite people.
You should come talk too.
And her friends.
It'll be fun. There's just so many topics, although cramming it into 2.5 days.
I know.
I have to cut things off somewhere, but we'll keep it going throughout the year on the podcast.
For sure.
Other events. But I think we're at 33 or 35 right now. Helena Sylvester, from Happy Acre Farm, if you follow her on Instagram, she has the best Instagram posts.
Love her.
She's coming, and so she's going to be talking some about Instagram, but also some about life on the street. She had a really good post a few months ago. It's one of the reasons I invited her, about dealing with customers at the market that aren't as much fun to deal with as others.
Yep. Life on the street being farmers market people, not like living on the street.
No, not living on the street. She lives on a lovely farm.
Yes.
But
she has nice
in the tent
perspective of...
my eyes are up here.
Yes. Whether it be good or bad, dealing with those customers, those customers.
And how you deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And still maintain customer service and, a good business. So, she's really good at that kind of thing. So we'll probably have her on a group talking about that, because we also have a few other people with opinions about that. So Megan Dolly's going to come.
Oh, yeah.
And talk about how it is to get into wholesale and open a brick and mortar while you're still running a farmer's market business. And when she had to choose which of those had to go, I guess you'll just have to... Oh, no, we had her on a podcast. You don't really have to wait and see. You could just scroll up a little bit and listen to her episode. But anyway...
Not really a spoiler, but...
She picked the tent.
Yeah.
She picked the tent when it came time to choose, when she couldn't keep up with it all. So she's going to be there to talk to us. Yeah, I think this podcast could go on all day, but instead, you just have to come to the conference.
You just have to get your
see who
ticket.
The other 18 or 20 people are that we haven't yet talked about.
We're so excited, though. It's looking like it's going to be a really exciting 2.5 days.
It is.
Yeah. I'm so excited. As we are every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Except for like the morning of the first day. But Bridget says, we're never doing this again. And then at the end of the last day, when she's loading up the truck and she said, that was so fun. Can we do it twice a year?
Last year I said, let's do 2 conferences a year. This is so great. Justin and Kat were just making fun of me for that the other night. It's like having a baby. Like, it's so hard when you're pregnant and then you deliver the baby and it's like so difficult. And then you have the baby and you're like, that was fun.
That was so fun.
Let's do it again.
So come on down and enjoy the birth with us.
That's right. Yikes. I don't know if that's embarrassing anybody.
That's a terrible analogy. Never mind. No,
enjoy
don't
the
do
fun.
That doesn't sound like any fun.
Back up
to the party.
Back up when we talked
party.
about the party and the sailboats in San Diego.
That's right. Great speakers.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it. So, just a reminder, go online right now and get your tickets at Eventbrite, farmersmarketpros.com. Conference is February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in sunny San Diego.
That's right.
That's right.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
We're done until next week.
That's right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you access your podcast, and tell us how you're enjoying the podcast. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss the next episode. And if you want more farmers market tips, tricks, and information, you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter at farmersmarketpros.com and follow us on Instagram at farmersmarketpros. The 4th annual InTents, the Farmers Market Conference, is coming right up on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Register right now at farmersmarketpros.com. The advanced ticket price of $295 for an all-access 3-day pass is good through the end of the year, so take that business tax deduction for 2019 and get your tickets right now. This podcast is produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded by Adam Samaha and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thanks so much for listening.